Saturday, 26 March, the Gap News this morning, broadcasting live from Kuala Lumpur, I'm Ghazali Abdullah. Good morning. First, the headlines. Fake-cert buyers will lose vaccinated status, says Khairy. Customers cheated of millions in scam by bank employee, says Santiago. Local composer allegedly grew 17 ganja plants at home, says cops. Bangladeshi worker dies after being crushed by a sand barrel. First phase of Ukraine war over, Russia says. Russia considers accepting Bitcoin for oil and gas. A national para-archer, Suresh, qualifies for Phuket semis. And now the news in full. Those with fake COVID-19 vaccine certificates on MySejahtera will have the vaccination records removed, says Health Ministry Khairy Jamaluddin. He said the ministry will do so after the police complete their investigations, considering this was a criminal matter. Once we have established true police investigations and can confirm that the vaccine certificates are fake, we will strike them out of MySejahtera, he said during a press conference at the Malaysian Red Crescent Society's national headquarters. Khairy said the ministry had already been removing the vaccination status of those found to be registered illegally. Some 30 customers of a bank's Klang branch have lost millions of ringgit as a result of an employee's scam. According to a letter written by Klang MP Charles Santiago to the bank, the employee convinced clients to enter into an investment with the promise of large returns. However, after some of these clients met each other, they suspected that they may have been victims of a scam upon seeing no signs of profits deposited into their bank accounts. Meanwhile, Santiago has urged the manager of the bank branch to conduct an investigation into the matter soon and meet with the victims to provide an explanation as well as compensation. A prominent local composer was arrested yesterday after 214 grams of ganja and 17 ganja plants were found at his house. He is now being investigated under Section 39B of the Dangerous Drug Act, which carries a mandatory death penalty and whipping of not less than 15 strokes if found guilty. Battalion Jaya Police Chief Fakhruddin Abdul Hamid said the 47-year-old man is also being investigated under Section 6B, where, if found guilty, he could face life imprisonment. The suspect was said to have been part of a famous Nasheed group before becoming a composer. According to Fakhruddin, the suspect was high on drugs when he was arrested in his condominium unit in Kota Damansara. A Bangladeshi construction worker died after being crushed by a sand barrel at a site in Bandar Pengiran, Subang on Friday. According to the Selangor Fire and Rescue Department, an emergency call was received at 11:57 a.m. and a team of 5 from the Sungai Buloh station arrived by 12:15 in the afternoon. The male victim was found crushed by a sand barrel. The Bangladeshi national is believed to be dead, it said in a brief statement. It appears that the site houses a high-rise mixed property development. The police force in its report stated that the 48-year-old victim, identified as Akman, died after the machine's cable used to transport the sand barrel had snapped and landed on the victim, who was at the sand deposit site. Thank you for being with us in this podcast group. You are listening to The Gap News, coming to you from Kuala Lumpur with reports from Free Malaysia Today, The Vibes and the BBC World Service. The Gap News is also available on the internet news portal Melaka Hari Ini. More to come, news from the international front. Russia's army says the first phase of its military campaign in Ukraine is over. It will now focus its efforts on the eastern Donbas region, it says, which contains 2 pro-Russian breakaway republics. Western officials believe the announcement implies that Moscow knows its pre-war strategy has failed. Meanwhile, US President Joe Biden is in Poland as he wraps up his European trip. Ukraine is reoccupying some towns and defensive positions east of Kiev, the UK says. An official in Mariupol has told the BBC an estimated 300 people died in last week's attack on a theatre. The southeastern port city has been destroyed and it will take years to rebuild, its mayor says. Earlier, the US and EU announced a major gas deal in an attempt to reduce Europe's reliance on Russian energy. Russia is considering accepting Bitcoin as payment for oil and gas exports, according to a high-ranking lawmaker. Pavel Zavalny says friendly countries could be allowed to pay in the cryptocurrency or in their local currencies. Earlier this week, Russian President Vladimir Putin said that he wanted unfriendly countries to buy its gas with rubles. The move is understood to be aimed at boosting the Russian currency, which has lost over 20% in value this year. And now for some sports news. National para archer S. Suresh has qualified for the semi-finals of the men's recurve event at the Phuket Asia Para Archery Tournament 2022 in Thailand. Suresh, 28, advanced after accumulating 611 points to finish second in the qualifying round on Friday. He scored 299 points from the 70-meter distance in the first set, before doing even better with 312 points in the second set. He finished just 5 points behind Thailand's Hanryu-chai Netsiri, 616 points, whose compatriot Ponchai Pimtong, 571 points, was third. Suresh, who was named the National Paralympic Sportsman at the 2019-2020 National Sports Award ASN on Tuesday, March 22nd, is set to face Pimtong in the semi-finals tomorrow. To end the bulletin, here are the headlines again. Fake-cert buyers will lose vaccinated status, says Khairy. Customers cheated millions in scam by bank employee, says Santiago. Local composer allegedly grew 17 ganja plants at home, says cops. Bangladeshi worker dies after being crushed by sand barrel. First phase of Ukraine war over, says Russia. Russia considers accepting Bitcoin for oil and gas. And national para archer Suresh qualifies for Phuket semis. This has been the Gap News this morning, Saturday, 26 March, with reports from Free Malaysia Today, The Vibes and the BBC World Service. The Gap News is also available on the internet news portal Melaka Hari Ini. We hope you found the bulletin informative. We certainly welcome hearing from you. If you do have the opportunity, please do write in. We would certainly love to hear from you. Podcasting live from Kuala Lumpur, I'm Ghazali Abdullah.